The wind hit my cabin hard. I cut wood outside, but the storm grew stronger. My lantern shook and I felt cold inside my chest. I wanted to stay alone, safe and quiet. Then I heard a loud bang on the door. I froze. No one came here. Not in the dark, not in the storm. The knock came again. I opened it. A woman stood there, soaked, her hair stuck to her face. 3 children clung to her dress. Their eyes were wide, scared, and tired. "Please," she whispered. "We need one night." "Just one night," I looked at them. My heart said no. People bring pain, debt, secrets. But the children looked at me like I was their last chance. "Come in," I said. They stepped inside. The little girl shook so hard I gave her my blanket. The boy carried nothing but a small wooden toy. The oldest stood tall, trying to act strong, but I saw fear. I lit the fire higher. The cabin filled with light and smoke. The woman spoke. "My name is Mara. These are my children. Ilya, Nico, and little Suri," I nodded. "I'm just the woodsman." "This is my place, thank you," Mara said. We were lost. The storm caught us. I looked at her wet hands. They were cut and rough, not soft like silk. She worked hard, harder than most men I knew. The boys sat near the fire. Suri leaned against me, her tiny head heavy on my arm. I didn't know what to do with that feeling. "Do you live here alone?" Ilya asked. "Yes," I said. "It is quiet here." "Quiet is good. Don't you get lonely?" Nico asked. I stared at the fire. "The woods keep me company." Mara looked at me. "Still, you opened your door. You helped us. That is not lonely." I had no answer. Later, as the storm screamed outside, I gave them soup. Mara whispered thanks again and again. When Suri finished eating, she took off a red scarf from her neck. She tied it around my wrist. "For you," she said softly. "Promise you keep us safe." My throat tightened. I wanted to pull away, but I didn't. The scarf stayed. I lay awake long after they slept. I told myself one night, only one night, but deep inside I knew the storm had carried more than rain. It had carried a story into my cabin, one I could not escape. The fire burned slow, and the wind hit the cabin walls. I gave them bowls of broth and said, "Eat. Warm food will help." The widow nodded. "Thank you. My name is Mara. These are my children. Ilya, Nico, and little Suri." I looked at the 3. The eldest boy raised his chin. The middle one smirked like he had a secret. The small girl clutched a red scarf and stared at me with wide eyes. I said, "Sit closer to the fire. The storm is not ending soon." Mara pulled her shawl tighter. "We did not mean to trouble you." I shrugged. "It is one night only," Ilya said. "Why do you live here alone?" I stirred the pot and kept my eyes on the flames. "Because peace is cheap here." "Because no one asks me questions." Nico leaned forward. "Do you have family?" My hand froze. I answered slow. "I did once." "Not now." Silence sat heavy until Suri whispered, "The soup is good." I almost smiled. "Then eat more." Their eyes moved to the axe on my wall. I saw fear in them. "It is only for wood," I said. The lie cut me inside. That axe had seen more than pine. Ilya still looked sharp. "It looks like a soldier's axe." Mara touched his arm. "Don't ask." But the boy didn't stop. "Did you fight?" I swallowed hard. I fought the forest. And I lost people I loved. "That is enough." The room quieted. The logs popped and smoke curled up. Mara broke the silence. "We lost someone too. My husband. He died last winter. Since then we moved place to place. No home, no money. Only each other." I looked at her hands. They were cut from work, not soft like silk. She had fought to keep them alive. "You came far," I said. She nodded. "Too far." The storm caught us. Ilya pushed his empty bowl toward me. "Can I help with wood tomorrow?" I blinked. "You?" "With my axe?" He lifted his shoulders. "I want to be useful." Something in me softened. "We will see. It is heavy, but you can try," Nico grinned. "I'll carry smaller logs." "I'm faster than him," I said. "Then you both can help." Suri slid from her seat and walked to me. She held out her red scarf. "For you," she said. I frowned. "Why?" "Because you gave us fire," she whispered. My chest tightened. My fiancé once wore a scarf the same color. Fire took her away and the memory cut like glass. I closed my fist around the scarf and nodded. "Thank you, little one," I said. Mara touched her daughter's hair. "Suri, keep your scarf." "It's cold," but Suri shook her head. "He needs it." I tied it around my wrist. "I will keep it safe." "A promise." The storm roared louder outside. Snow pushed against the windows. Mara looked at me, fear in her eyes. Will the road open tomorrow? I went to the door, opened it, and saw the white wall of snow. No path, no way, I shut it hard. No, the road is gone. You cannot leave. Her lips trembled. Then we are trapped. I stared into the fire. The cabin filled with their whispers. My heart grew heavy. People near me always brought loss. Promises always broke. Bones always followed. But still, I said, stay by the fire. Tonight you are safe. And for the first time in years, I prayed I was not lying. The morning came cold. Blue ice covered the yard. I stepped outside and saw the broken bridge. No way to town now. I carried wood inside. Mara looked worried. The bridge is gone? She asked. Yes, I said. We're stuck for days. Her hands shook as she held the pot. Ilya frowned. What if food runs out? We'll make it last, I told him. Nico grinned. I can hunt rabbits. Mara cut him off. No, it's too cold. I laughed a little. He has courage, but no skill. Nico pouted, and Suri giggled. Mara rolled her sleeves to wash dishes. I froze when I saw the bruises. Yellow, green, ugly. She pulled the sleeve down fast. It's nothing, she whispered. My chest burned. Someone hurt you, she shook her head. Please don't ask, I bit my tongue. I wanted names. The boys fought over water duty. I went yesterday, Ilya shouted. Liar, it was me, Nico yelled. I set my axe down. Enough. You'll both go. They groaned but obeyed. Their voices pulled me back to my brothers, long dead. I felt the weight of memory like stone. Later, Ilya stared at me. Why do you live here alone? He asked. I rubbed my hands. Because I failed someone. Silence filled the room. Mara's eyes softened, but she said nothing. Suri tugged my coat. You're not failing us. My throat closed tight. Then I heard hooves. A rider. Dust rose from the yard. The door banged open. Jonas Hale stood there, smug smile on his face. Well, Woodsman, he said, you keep strange guests. Mara froze. Her face turned pale. Jonas pointed at her. You owe debts. You and your brats must come back, Mara stammered. Please, Jonas, give us time, he laughed. Time costs money. I stepped forward. She stays here, Jonas sneered. Big words from a lonely man with an axe. Heat rose in me, the same heat that ruined my past. He leaned close. Bram owns her papers. He owns her children too. I clenched my fists. Not while I breathe, Jonas smirked. Careful. You don't want another fire in your life. His words cut deep. Did he know? He pulled his reins and turned his horse. I'll be back. With law, with men. The sound of hooves faded into the cold air. Mara fell to her knees. I can't escape him. I lifted her up. You are safe here. I promise. She shook her head. Promises break. I touched Suri's scarf tied on my wrist. Not this one. Inside, the fire cracked. My axe leaned in the corner, silent, but my knuckles still burned with old rage. Jonas pushed the door wide and stepped inside. His boots dripped mud on my floor. He looked around, saw the fire, saw Mara and the children close to me. Silver, he said. Pay now. I kept my hands steady. I don't have silver. He grinned. Then show proof. The widow owes. Her husband left land. Councilman Bram controls it, for her own good. Mara shook. Her hands clutched Suri's scarf. I said, she stays here. Jonas laughed loud. She stays? You are a poor woodsman. You cut logs, not law. Court will take her. Court will take the children. Maybe sell them cheap. Suri whimpered. Ilya stepped forward, fists hard. I raised my hand. No. Jonas's eyes narrowed. You want trouble? I give trouble. I return soon. He spat on the floor and walked out. The door closed. The room fell heavy. The children huddled near Mara. I heard my own blood in my ears. Mara whispered, You should not fight him. Bram owns the court. He owns the sheriff too. I looked at her. Tell me truth. No hiding. She bit her lip. She looked at the fire, not me. Bram is my brother-in-law. He told me he would guard us. After my husband died, he said, I take care. But his care was a collar. I frowned. Collar? Her voice cracked. He tried to sell the land. He tried to sell my children. Gambling debts. He drinks. He signs papers. He smiles while we starve. Ilya whispered, "Is it true, Mama?" Mara closed her eyes. "Yes, my son." The boys looked sick. Suri cried soft into the scarf. I clenched my fists. "He wants silver, but silver is only chains." Mara nodded. I ran. I had no choice. I stood and walked to the wall. My axe hung there. The wood handle was worn by my hand, my sweat, my rage. I touched it. Nico asked, "Why do you look at the axe like that?" I swallowed. "Because I remember." The fire popped. My throat burned. Years ago, I had a woman. She wore a red ribbon. She waited for me after work. She said we would marry, but the fire came. Men said it. They said it was only to scare me. A land fight. But she died inside. Mara whispered, "I'm sorry." I shook my head. I never found who paid them. Only a letter burned in the flames. Half a seal left. For years I saw it in my sleep. The men laughed when the roof fell. Ilya stepped close. "Do you think Bram—" I cut him off. "I don't know. But tonight I smell the same smoke." Mara touched my arm. "You helped us when you had nothing. You didn't need to. You have pain. I see it. But don't fight Bram alone. He kills with paper and coin, not only fire." I looked down at her hand. It was thin, cracked, brave. "I can't let him take you," I said. Nico asked, "What if he brings soldiers?" I answered, "Then I bring truth." Mara's eyes filled. "Truth does not pay debts." I shook my head. "But truth can break chains." The children listened, their faces small in the firelight. Suri whispered, "You promise we stay?" Her words cut me deep. I bent, tied her scarf tighter around her shoulder. "I promise." Silence sat with us. The wind pushed against the cabin walls. The snow outside was thick, but inside it was heat and fear. Mara said, "If Bram takes me, he wins. If Bram takes them, I die inside. I would rather run to the woods forever." I looked at my axe again. "Then we fight, with wood, with words, with proof, no more running." The fire cracked louder as if it agreed. I felt the weight of the night, but also the weight of choice. The axe was heavy, but my promise was heavier. When I lay down later, I could not sleep. The red scarf on the chair glowed like fire in the dark. I heard the storm, the past, the voice of the woman I lost. And under it all, I heard my own heart say again and again, "She stays." I set the cabin like a hush. The cabin felt small, like a box. Smoke from the stove stung my eyes. I needed truth more than clean air. I walked to the old cedar chest. My hands shook like winter leaves. I had promised to never open it. Promises broke when fear grew big. "I will check something," I said. "I need to see an old letter." Mara watched me and nodded once. "I will stay," she said, calm. The children ate bread and rested. I knelt and lifted the lid slowly. The smell rose like wet ash, perfume and sap mixed with smoke. My thumb found the burnt ribbon. It was stiff and still lovely. Fire ate the color, not the shape. I had given that ribbon with love. She never came home after the fire. The ribbon stayed like a splinter. I took out the blackened letter next. The paper felt dry and cruel. Heat bit the edges into teeth. A red wax seal still held firm. A sun shape sat broken inside. The signature looked like a smear. I stared until my eyes hurt. Mara stepped closer and spoke soft. "What is it?" she asked me. "An old debt," I said, tired. "I kept it after the fire. I hoped it was evidence someday." "May I see the seal?" she asked. I handed her the page carefully. My fingers did not want release. She bent near the window light. Snow made the day bright and hard. She traced the broken sun gently. "I know this," she whispered, sure. "I saw this on Bram's letters. Same seal, same half-sun. Same color, same wax shape." My heartbeat went wrong and heavy. The room tilted like a boat. I held the table and breathed. "Say it again," I said, hoarse. "The seal is Bram's," she said. "I kept 2 of his notes. He used this sign for money. He used it for land and court. I looked at the letter, burning. Then Bram touched my life, I said. He touched the fire that took her. Mara met my eyes and stayed there. I am sorry, she said, true. But truth beats fog every time. We need truth for justice now. I wanted revenge like a storm. I wanted to run and shout. I wanted Bram to pay now. I wanted to grab his coat. But revenge ate more than it gave. I knew that taste from years. I need courage, not rage, I said. We will use evidence, not fire. Mara set her hand on me. We will go slow, she said. We will choose hope together. Footsteps tapped behind the door. Ilya stood with my axe ready. Teach me to split wood? He asked. I can help the home today. I wiped my face and nodded. Yes, I said. Bring the wedge. We stepped outside to the pile. The storm had passed at last. Air bit like a small wolf. Snow lay high by the fence. The forest held its breath, waiting. I showed Ilya how to place logs. Feet wide, I said. Hands firm. Eyes on the center for balance. He raised the axe and swung down. The blade kissed a knot and slid. He almost fell but caught himself. I missed, he said, face hot. You learned, I said, steady. Try again with less fear. He tried again with careful force. A clean crack split the secret. Two halves fell like open truth. Ilya laughed once, quick and bright. I did it, he said, proud. I can help our home now. You already help, I told him. You stand. That helps more. We worked in rhythm for a while. Chop, stack, breathe, repeat, and listen. My blood cooled and mine cleared. The cabin window showed the others. Mara, Suri, and Nico watched us. Family looked like that to me. Suri ran out in small boots. She held her red scarf tight. The scarf glowed like a flag. Hold still, she said to me. I want to tie this gift. What for? I asked, bending. It is a promise, she said. You helped us. I help you. This scarf will keep you safe. Her hands were tiny and sure. She tied it on my wrist. Warmth pressed into skin like vows. My throat closed for a breath. I will keep this, I said. I will wear it in town. When I feel fear, I touch it. Then I remember courage again. Suri smiled and ran inside. Nico shouted from the doorway. Are we going to the inn? I want pie and stories tonight. Maybe soon, I said, honest. We need proof and friends first. We need people who speak truth. Mara stepped out with 2 notes. Bram sent these last month, she said. See the half-sun here. See the red wax and threat. I set my letter next to hers. 3 seals stared like cold eyes. Past and present met in me. This is our bridge, I said. We carry these to the sheriff. The road was mud and ice. We pushed the handcart slow. Mara held Suri close. Ilya and Nico pulled rope with me. I said, stay near. Don't speak much, Nico asked. Why so quiet? I said, because eyes watch. Town people like talk. Talk can harm, Mara whispered. He means Bram's men. Ilya spat on the ground. Let them come, I looked at him. Bravery is good, but fear keeps you alive too. We reached the first houses. Curtains moved. Doors half shut. I felt stairs on my back. At the inn, old May waved us in. She gave hot tea. I know why you came, she said. I asked. You remember that night? Her face went hard. Yes, the fire. Men bought drinks here, paid with Bram's tokens. I never forget a mark like that, Mara asked. Would you say it in court? May looked at the kids. Then she nodded. Yes, enough lies already. We thanked her and left. My heart was heavy but also burning. Next, we walked to Dr. Rowan's office. He saw Mara's sleeve slip, saw the bruise. He sighed. These are not accidents. Pattern clear. Grip marks, pressure. Mara's lips shook. He called it punishment. Said I must obey, Rowan wrote notes. I will speak. Truth must be told, I nodded. Thank you, doctor. When we stepped outside, the street was full. People acted busy, but their eyes followed. Whispers ran like mice. Then I heard boots, sharp and loud. Bram came with 2 men. His coat was fine wool, his smile false gold. Well, well, he said. The Woodsman brings guests. I stood tall. I need no welcome from you, he laughed soft. You are a stubborn man, but I like that. We can be friends. You give me the widow back, I give you coin. Enough coin to buy 10 cabins. Mara gripped my arm. I will not go, I said. You hear her. Bram smiled wider. Women say many things. I only hear what law says, and law is mine. He stepped close to Nico, placed a hand on his shoulder. Strong boy. He will work fine on my land. Nico froze. Something broke inside me. I grabbed Bram's wrist and shoved his hand away. Don't touch him. The whole street went silent. Even birds stopped. Bram's men reached for knives. I squared my stance. My axe was not here, but my fists were ready. Then a sharp voice cut the air. Enough! Sheriff Etta Pike walked between us. Her badge shone, her eyes sharp. This is town ground. No fights here. Bram lifted his hands, smooth. Sheriff, I was only greeting old friends. She turned to me. And you, Woodsman? Trouble follows you, I said. I did not start this. Mara cried, he grabbed my child. Etta raised a hand. Enough words. We settle this proper. Hearing tomorrow. Town hall. You both bring proof, Bram bowed slightly. As you command, Sheriff. He leaned close to me as he turned. His breath smelled of wine. He whispered, You are not the only one with a past, Woodsman. I felt my spine chill. My secrets pressed like stones. He knew something. Maybe more than I guessed. When he walked away, people began to move again. The street filled with noise, but my head stayed quiet. Ilya hissed, Why not hit him? Why wait? I said, Because fists give short wins. Truth gives long wins, Mara touched my arm. Do you believe that? I looked at her bruises, at the children. I must. We found a corner bench. I sat with Nico. He looked at me. I wasn't scared, he said. I said, Good, but smart fear saves lives. Never forget that. He nodded slow. The day turned long. Whispers chased us. Some eyes looked kind, some cold. We carried food from the market back to the cart. People gave space but never turned away. I felt the weight of being judged. Mara spoke low. Do you think we can win? I rubbed my face. I don't know. But May will speak. Rowan too. That may be enough. Suri climbed on my knee. She wrapped her red scarf on my wrist again. Promise? I closed my hand around the scarf. Promise. That night, back at the inn, I could not sleep. I watched fire burn low in the hearth. I thought of Bram's words, past, secrets, fire, my fiancé's ribbon, my guilt, my rage. I told myself tomorrow decides more than law. I stood in the town hall and breathed. People stared like knives. My skin felt thin. Benches creaked and dust rose under boots. Sheriff Etta said we would start now. Bram smiled, but fear moved under that smile. His lawyer stood and smoothed a gray coat. He said I hid a violent past alone. He said Mara used me to steal land. He waved papers and called my cabin unsafe. I said the cabin kept children warm and alive. Mara gripped the rail. Her hands shook hard. She said she ran from debt and danger. She said Bram promised help, but asked for children. The lawyer laughed and called her story theater. He said, show proof or stop this noise. I pulled a charred letter from my coat. I said the red seal matched Bram's ring. I said the letter named Pay for Fire. Gasps rose. My chest thumped like a drum. Bram said forgery and called my pain cheap. He said I lied to gain simple pity. Old May frowned and watched his smooth face. Dr. Rowan wrote notes and kept his calm. The lawyer asked for a real living witness. My mouth dried. Courage felt thin and cold. I said the night still burned my memory. I said I smelled oil and heard men. I said I failed to save my home. Mara whispered that I did not fail alone. Finn Calder limped in, pale, wet, and shaking. I knew him from the sawmill and fights. He stared at me like I was judgment. He said he carried a ledger from nights. He raised a broken book with careful hands. He said Bram paid men to burn woods. He said tokens from Bram bought their drinks. Voices swelled. Sheriff Etta hit the gavel. I saw Bram's face turn white, then dark. The lawyer called Finn a drunk, lying thief. Finn said he stole the ledger and ran. Finn said his guilt grew heavy like iron. He said he lit the first cruel torch. He said the river swallowed light and screams. My legs trembled. The floor tilted under me. I said he took her life with that torch. Finn wept and said he knew that truth. He said smoke still lived inside his chest. He said he came to pay and speak. Bram shouted, "Arrest him!" He broke the law. Sheriff Etta said truth also broke his chain. She told Bram to sit and hear justice. Jonas stood like a snake and shoved forward. He grabbed Finn's arm and hissed for silence. He said, "Come now, old man, or bleed." Finn winced. The ledger slipped toward the floor. I stepped and caught the book with both hands. Pages fluttered like black rain over wood. I said these marks matched Bram's red seal. I said here were dates, debts, and sums. The lawyer lunged and tried to snatch proof. I held tight. I would not let go. Bram called the hall full of forest fools. He said order, not mercy, saved our town. I said truth and courage saved human life. I said people were not coins or trees. Mara said our family was not Bram's debt. She said we were not his secret property. The crowd pounded feet and shouted for justice. Sheriff Etta warned for quiet or a clearing. She said she would read formal charges now. She said Bram faced fraud and cruel coercion. She said Jonas faced assault inside this court. Jonas cursed and tried to run left fast. 2 farmers blocked him with heavy, ready arms. Finn sagged onto a bench and sobbed hard. He said he wanted to help rebuild homes. He said he could lift, carry, and dig. I stood by him and heard my heart beat. I said his words hurt but helped the truth. I said he must finish even through pain. Finn pointed at Bram's ring with shaking finger. He said that ring paid him in tokens. He said the same seal marked arson orders. The lawyer begged delay and deep review time. He said the ledger was stolen bad evidence. Sheriff Etta said crimes hid inside those pages. She said the court accepted the ledger today. Bram shouted that the flood would wash truth. I said the river washed fear, not truth. I said hope stood when bridges fell down. Jonas glared and said I thought I won. I said justice finally started to walk. Mara touched my sleeve. Suri's scarf glowed red. She whispered we stood together as one family. I said I made a promise at home. I said I would protect them with courage. Water pushed hard against the town. People screamed, doors slammed, dogs barked. I shouted, "Stay close to me!" But then I heard Suri cry, "Mara!" I yelled, "Where is she?" Mara turned, face white as snow. "She was here, she was holding Nico!" I saw Jonas grab her small arm. "Jonas!" I screamed. He pulled Suri, laughing like a wolf. "You want her back? Pay your debt!" He ran into the black water. I ran after him, cold biting deep. The river rose to my chest. I heard Suri scream, "Help me!" Her red scarf flashed like fire. Ilya shouted, "I'll come too." "No," I barked. "Stay with Mara." My legs fought the water. The old mill stood ahead, groaning. Jonas dragged Suri onto the gangway. Boards cracked, nails screamed, wood shook. He turned to me, eyes wild. "You always lose, Woodsman. Always lose." "I will not lose her," I growled. He laughed. "Like you lost your love?" My blood burned hotter than flood. I gripped my axe with numb hands. Suri cried, "Papa, please save me." The word hit me like stone. I was not her father yet, but her voice made me believe. Jonas pulled her toward broken boards. Below, the wheel churned water fast. If she slipped, she would vanish. I had one chance, one choice. I threw my axe into the wheel. The metal jammed, the wheel stopped. The mill shook but held a breath. I leaped, air tearing in my lungs. Pain exploded when I hit the gangway. My shoulder cracked like dry wood. But my hand caught red scarf. I pulled, and Suri slammed into me. She clung to me, shaking. "Don't let me go," she sobbed. "Never," I said, voice breaking. I tied scarf tight around my wrist. Jonas raised a knife, eyes black. But the door crashed open behind us. Mara, Ilya, and Nico stormed in. Ilya threw a rope like lightning. Mara screamed, "Give me my daughter!" Nico swung a plank at Jonas. He stumbled, knife clattering to the floor. Sheriff Etta's voice cut the storm. "Drop it, Jonas." "It's over!" Jonas hissed. "This town is mine!" But Etta stepped, gun steady and cold. "Not tonight." "Not ever again." Jonas froze, rope around his chest. I pushed Suri into Mara's arms. Their hug lit the dark room bright. I dropped, chest heaving, bones screaming. Then I saw Bram on a beam. The flood pulled him, his boots slipping. His face turned pale, eyes begging. "Help me!" He gasped, voice raw. I crawled to the edge. I reached my broken arm down. "Take my hand, Bram!" I shouted. He looked at me, at Suri. "You lost her because of me," he rasped. "Now you will lose me too." His fingers hovered but did not grip. He let go, swallowed by the flood. Mara cried, "He's gone!" I felt no joy, only silence. The water took him, like it took her. But this time, I saved someone. The mill creaked, timbers splitting. "Out!" Sheriff Etta yelled. We rushed, rope pulling Jonas behind. The building groaned and fell into black. Outside, the rain softened. The town was broken, but alive. I fell to my knees, coughing. Suri touched my cheek, whispering, "Home." I held her small hand tight. My axe was gone, my arm broken, but I had a family now, and that was stronger than any weapon. The town looked broken, but people stood strong. Sheriff Etta came to me and said, "You are stubborn." I smiled. "Maybe," she nodded. "Good thing. Stubborn saved lives." Mara walked near the well. She called, "We need wood." I said, "I will cut more." Nico ran with a bucket. "I can help." Ilya followed him. "No, I will do it first," they argued, but I laughed. "Both of you come with me." Suri pulled my sleeve. "Don't forget my scarf." Her red scarf was tied on my wrist. I touched it. "I never forget." She smiled like the sun after snow. Later, we worked on the cabin. Mara held a hammer. I never built before. I said, "Now you can learn." She hit the nail. "Too slow?" I said, "No, perfect." Her laugh filled the air. It felt like spring. At night, we planted a pine near the porch. I cut small marks in the bark. Mara asked, "Why do that?" I said, "One mark for the woman I lost." She grew quiet. I said, "One for you and the children." Her eyes shined. "And one for the life I choose now." The wind passed through the trees. It sounded soft, like breathing, not crying. I felt peace at last. Suri climbed on the porch. "Can I tie my scarf here?" I lifted her up. We tied it to the beam, red against the pale wood. She clapped. "It's our flag." I said, "Yes, our promise flag." Mara came closer. She looked at me, long and warm. "So," she asked, "are we here for one night?" Her smile was gentle like sunrise. I touched her hand. "No," I said. "We are home."